Welcome to Nevada. Manus Project Nexus will give you all you need in the hack and slash run and gun genre. Epic music? Check. Fun combat and unique enemies? Check. Many different unique levels and weapons? Double check. Content? Super check. Huge spoiler warning to not watch this video if you don't want to get super duper spoiler alert. Ultra check of madness. Manus Project Nexus is a very fun game that I believe didn't get the attention it deserved. It has gameplay videos on YouTube, but most of the higher subscriber YouTubers I saw play it only had a few episodes of the game at best. This game deserves more love, and I, Agent Gabe, am going to reveal to you why. Manus Project Nexus has 3 main game modes. Story mode, where you play as the protagonists of Manus Combat, where you invade Nexus City to take down Project Nexus. Arena mode, where you pick from multiple origins and complete levels to make your character powerful while also building your empire. Finally, the playground, which is just sandbox madness on screen. I won't be going over training mode. It is simply the game's tutorial with a cool classic Manus combat coat over it. However, I believe personally that the arena mode is just honestly a better teacher at the game than the tutorial mode itself. Now, my fellow Nevadians, grab a snack and let's hop on in. For the average player, I would assume that story mode is likely the first game mode people are gonna pick first. Story mode takes you on a 6-sector, 19-level-long journey that normally spans from between 7 to 8 hours. Starting from the bandit-ridden outskirts all the way to the Nexus core fortress, the Science Tower. In story mode, you'll be playing as 4 characters: Deimos, Sanford, Jeb, and Hank. However, if you do have either Parsec or an Xbox controller buddy in your room, you can do up to 4 people with couch co-op. These characters aren't too different, but since I have no friends to play this game with, I cannot show you. I am a lone agent of this world. Back to it, each character has their own unique traits that makes them unique. Sanford is stronger than Deimos, while Deimos is faster. Deimos is so weak, he can't two-hand some weapons that other characters can. Sanford has the ability to throw any hook weapon and reel it back into him. Not only that, but he can reel enemies over to him as well, or with big enemies, he reels himself. Deimos movement-wise is the fastest in the game. He's the quickest by far and has a much faster kick than the other playable characters. He makes the kick much more useful due to his speed, and he's the only one in the entire game as far as I know, even in Arena, that has access to it. Story-wise, Deimos and Sanford have 2 unique traits that make you have to swap between them. Anything explosive related only Sanford can do, and anything tech/hack related only Deimos or even Jeb can do. Hank is pretty special too. He has access to a roll dodge, which is much better than the flop Deimos and Sanford has. He can also block bullets with his melee weapons, and has access to unique melee and unarmed animations that the other main 3 don't have access to. Jeb, on the other hand, you can consider the mage character. Jeb has access to telekinesis, however, it can only do 2 things. 1 is grabbing any weapon from a faraway distance, and 2 is unique telekinetic executions that add flavor. Jeb also has a float dodge, where he floats away from enemies rather than rolls, along with Nexus bolts. It's important to mention Jeb cannot use any grenade slot weapons since it's permanently taken by his Nexus bolts. These bolts come in 20, and they are balls of dissonant energy that do tons of damage and disintegrate enemies on death. Meaning, if you kill a Sleepwalker or Sleepwalker Golem with it, they will die even with their mask on. He can also block bullets like Hank with a melee weapon, however, he also has the ability to deflect the bullets back at the enemy as well. Very important note, his hand raise animation is deceiving, especially for Manus Combat fans knowing in the animations he has a hand shield. He does not in this game, and blocking without a melee weapon will just get you killed. Finally, Jeb has access to special charging animations. The first charge up sends enemies flying into the air, which is especially useful on golems, while the second charge up is a dissonance energy smash. Please remember that if Jeb gets hit only once, even if he's just about to slam down, he'll just flinch instead and cancel the animation. So, if you do want to use these attacks, you'll have to time them right. There is also Sheriff at the very end of the game. He has a bigger attack bar and infinite ammo. However, as of this video, he's only playable in the sectors, meaning he's only useful as of now in the S3FL Eater DLC. Enough about the characters. Let's talk where you'll be playing. In story mode, you'll be part of a campaign of bandits, experiments, mercenaries, and soldiers. Each level is different. While there's tons of battling, sometimes you'll have to do puzzles, such as key cards, computers, explosives, or whatever this is. I hate this. I really hate this. Ahem. Sorry guys, my violence was acquired for a second. In Madness Project Nexus, each level is completely unique, and so is every sector. There's the outskirts, the only sector outside of the city, where you'll run through abandoned, bandit-ridden streets and an old power station that gets attacked by the classic AAHW. All the way to the front gate itself, where Mag Bandit waits to eat you up. There's the industrial sector full of fire and mercenaries, the residential sector littered with the surviving citizens of Nexus City and zombies, the commercial sector full of old and even a still operational Nexus facility where you fight an asylum, experiments, and even the Nexus core itself, to the mining sector, an underground nightmare full of water, cultists, and abominations. Then, to the final sector, the main enemy itself. The people you have been trying to stop all along the way, the Nexus core. Littered with armed soldiers, big brutes, and more experiments, yay! Story mode is a journey through an abandoned city, full of unique sectors that make each area very unique to go through and a plethora of different enemies to fight. The story isn't crazy, but it's fun, and the characters are pretty entertaining. There's also plenty of fun boss fights as well, and for an in-depth of each boss, feel free to check out my Madness Project Nexus boss ranking. What makes story mode so cool is just how diverse it is. Of course, not really color-wise, since this game is very gray and blandish. However, I mean more look-wise, the style, along with the various different factions you'll have to fight throughout the game. There's also a ton of secret lore hidden around the game in terminals and various other areas, so if you love the lore, check every nook and cranny for secrets. There's also a few secret rooms too. Not many, but they do exist. The story itself is fun enough that I believe even non-Madness combat fans can definitely enjoy it. However, fans like me will definitely get a lot more out of it, especially with all the subtle hints to connecting with the animations. One last thing I should mention about story mode is loadouts. When you start a level, you will be locked into one loadout. However, as you beat more levels, you get access to different armor sets and weapon sets as well. Once you beat a level, you can go back to it, and you can use any custom loadout you've unlocked, and there is a plethora of different options. My favorite, of course, being the Prime Blade. Oh, I love the Prime Blade. And, along with it, the S3FL Eater set. Although, I've got no clue if the custom-looking corpus actually does anything. So we talked about story mode, but before we get into the next game mode, I want to talk about combat. After all, it's in the series name. So, how is the combat? Well, pretty fun. It has your typical heavy and light attacks, heavy of course doing more damage. However, something to remember is that heavy attacks, while slower, deal area damage, meaning they'll attack multiple enemies in front of you. While light attacks are much faster, you only attack one person at a time, and obviously it does less damage than heavy attacks. Damage doesn't just stop there though. Critical hits in this game aren't just random, they are timed. If you hit the mouse button a second time, right before your light or heavy attack hits, you'll land a critical hit. Critical attacks, especially heavy ones, have a higher chance to give enemies. Not only does it look cool, but enemies that come back to life such as Zeds and Sleepwalkers won't come back after being gibbed. There's even a unique system for guns called the sweet spot. What's a sweet spot? Well, you see that green thingy? If you place your aim there directly, that's how you get critical damage with your firearms. Each gun has a different sweet spot. For example, shotguns usually have shorter ones, and rifles normally have longer ones. However, they normally vary depending on the type of gun. This also helps with gibbing, especially with headshots. If an enemy is too close to you, or you want to knock them down, well, either kick them or shoulder check them. And if you really want to, hold shift while doing a shoulder check to do a jump kick. They aren't super helpful, but they do add a little bit of spice. Of course, your enemies won't just stand around letting you hit them. They fight back. In order to defend yourself, it's as is in most games. With this game, there's two dodges. A quick snappy snap dodge that's more so to dodge an attack and get right back into the fight, or a full-on dodge that actively gets you away from the enemy for some breathing room. If you have the parry skill in arena mode, if you block an attack at the perfect time with a melee weapon, you actually attack them back automatically. Fisticuffs, for me anyways, aren't really that good in the game, to be honest. However, if you block right before the enemy hits you, it triggers a counter, where you will knock the enemy down and possibly stun them. What is stun? Well, a stun not only slows the enemy down, however, it leaves them open for a unique attack called an execution that always, no matter what, takes out a corpus block. So since a lot of enemies only have one corpus block, it is an insta-kill for most. To get stunned is kinda random. It can happen when you swing a melee weapon, or kick someone, counter, hit them with your hands, and of course, the most notable way, using flashbangs. If you collide melee weapons with an enemy, you'll have to mash your mouse button, going into a little mini-game. If you fail, your enemy will disarm you of your weapon, and vice versa. Some enemies will grab onto you, making you have to spam the dodge button, such as Abominations pouncing on you or Zeds grabbing you. Good thing to know is if you parry enemies that lunge at you or throw themselves, such as Patience and Zeds, you can throw them across the room. Your melee weapons also break, causing them to become a shard. Shards, screwdrivers, or scalpels can be used as an instant execution on enemies, instantly taking out a corpus. It even works on golems and mags, but for that, it's not a guaranteed loss for a corpus block, but it at least does a good amount of extra damage. Of course, you can also throw your melee weapons and ranged weapons at enemies as well. Arena characters with the special ability of Acrobatic or Jeb from Story Mode have a unique ability called Lawnmower, where your bladed melee weapons go straight through multiple enemies rather than just hitting one. The last three major things that need to be covered are charge-up swings, corpus blocks, and tack bars. Charge-up swings can be charged up twice, the first one just being a shorter version of the full swing. It's a wide area attack that can damage and kill multiple enemies around you. It's very useful for the riot shielders, since it's able to knock them down without them being able to block your attack. It's an effective attack that can get interrupted by getting hit. Getting hit can stun lock you, which makes dodging and blocking even more important. I should also throw in dual wielding. So long as you don't have to two-hand a weapon, you can dual wield any gun or melee weapon in story mode. You can do so in arena mode too, so long as you have the right skills for it and attributes. Tack bars are your bullet shield, or in game, your ability to dodge bullets. Guns are held by many enemies in the game, and your tack bar always prevents you from dying instantly by getting lit up. Each shot drains your tack bar while your character dodges that bullet. Tack bars can be built up again when you kill an enemy, causing it to go up a sliver with each kill. Then there's corpus blocks. You see, health in this game isn't just a percentage bar. Instead, it's measured with these red blocks under your character's name. When you take damage, your corpus block will noticeably drain and shake. However, each block has a specific amount of health. You are able to take damage mid-fight, and over time, your corpus will regenerate. You can tell by how the color spins around like a clock, filling itself up, which makes an arrow point upwards, signifying your health went back up. You can also tell when your screen gets less red. If a corpus block takes enough damage, however, it will break, meaning that part of your health bar is gone unless you get a medkit in story mode. There are exceptions to this, however, such as the Offering being able to heal himself via execution. One last thing to note, in story mode, as long as you have your squad mate alive, you can revive them, bringing them back with one corpus. However, in arena mode, squad mates or not, if you die, there's no coming back. You have to restart. I want to quickly point out the difficulty, since it kind of goes hand in hand with combat. I think maybe, well, whatever, it's my video. Anyways, the difficulty is mainly the same with how it is in most games except Madness mode. It's kinda like this game's Hotline Miami mode. You and your enemies have massively reduced health. So yeah, you can kill those goons faster, but you can only take a few knocks yourself. The enemies are also extremely aggressive, and to top it all off, you get no extra ammo clips and only heal one corpus from medkits. The corpus rule also applies to tough difficulty too, and the extra clip debuff only applies to story mode and not arena mode's madness difficulty. Arena mode, most likely the mode you'll spend most of your hours on this game with, and there's a lot to cover. Arena mode is a game mode where you create your own character and fight in different stages to earn XP and become stronger over time. To start off, you'll start with your name, which as far as I know can't ever be changed, not even if you imprint your character. Origins alone make arena mode extremely unique. While not changing combat completely, each origin adds spice and promotes various playstyles. Want to be a full-on gunslinger, an acrobatic ninja, a melee connoisseur, or just a straight-up brawler? Then there's an origin for you. However, you only start with a few origins, the others being unlocked via imprints, which one is gained each time you beat arena mode and sacrifice your character to make a new one and start over. Each character has a focus skill and a weak skill. You see, skills are divided into 4 trees: ranged, melee, unarmed, and acrobatic. There's one starting origin for each skill focus and more for the imprint ones as well. With your skill focus, you not only get double the attribute points when buying a skill, however, you get access to 3 different special skills in that branch that's locked out for the others, only being available in Core 3. I will explain more of Core 3 later. For example, being able to block and deflect bullets is only available for melee-focused characters. For reference on weak skills, each tree is branched out through core skills 0 to 3. Core skills basically upgrade your character entirely in that tree. For example, each core skill in melee or unarmed gives you better and faster swinging animations. Core skill in acrobatic gives you a better dodge, and a core skill in ranged gives you more ammo, amongst various other benefits. Core skills also allow you to get access to better and more helpful skills. I'm saying this since higher tier skills are locked behind core skills. If you want to get to the higher tier skills, you need to go through core skill 1, 2, and 3, each one having their own unique and different skills to buy from. I'm saying this all now because weak skills not only disable you from getting any bonus attribute points in that tree, I will discuss attributes and skills more later. However, your weak skill disables the ability for you to go to Core 3, meaning it locks you out of the late game skills of that branch. For example, if your origin has an acrobatic weakness, they'll never have the roll dodge and any skill that is accessible only to Core 3. Each character comes with a unique look, and at the very least, if they don't look too different, they will have a unique starting outfit. The origins also range with their starting stats, but the most important stat is their health. Some origins are tankier, like the Massive having 30 health per corpus block, or the Experiment having 25. Some are more fragile, such as Kryber having only 15 and the Offering having the lowest at 10. But where origins truly shine is their abilities and buff. Each origin has specific buffs and debuffs to fit their character. Buffs and debuffs alike, such as the Disquieted doing more slash damage but less rain damage, or the Experiment having +2 unarmed damage but is weak to fire. While debuffs such as the Magturge, whatever he's called, or Agent having a decrease to their max encumbrance, meaning they can't wear as much heavy armor. But their true squeaky shine is their special traits. Some aren't that good. For example, the Experiment is almost completely useless. Its origin is supposed to make opponents run off when I believe you do an execution or give an enemy. But last time I saw it work, they ran away a little bit and just came right back. The nicest thing I can say is it can give you some breathing room sometimes, but to me, it was pretty useless. Other specials, however, are far more unique. such as the agent stun locking with his pistols, the mercenary being able to use money to turn stunned opponents to his side, or my favorite, the disquieted ability to use any melee weapon like a shard and instantly use any melee weapon as a free execution. Or the offering special execution that allows him to heal his corpus by absorbing enemies' life force on stunned opponents and even have a chance of bringing them back from the dead as little fodder ghosts. Last thing about Origins is that the noob follows none of these rules. He has no special, but what makes him special is his lack of specialness. You see, he's the only Origin that has access to all core 3s in each skill tree. Well, besides the wizard anyways, because he doesn't have a focus skill or a weak skill either. He doesn't have access to 3 special skills, however, he's your jack of all trades, master of none character. In arena mode, you are a dude trying to build his own empire via Doc's orders. Waking up on a boss, Doc tells you what you've got to do, and there you go off to the start of arena mode. I'm not delving into the story much in this video. I want you all to experience that for yourselves, and if you already played the game, you already know the story anyways, so yeah, this isn't a lore video. So after all that start talk, let me explain the nitty-gritty of arena mode. In arena mode, no matter what origin you pick, you'll start off pretty weak. Your first true mission is in the Sleepwalker bed, which is a nod to Madness Project Nexus's arena mode room. After beating up some VR dummies, you get core 1 skills pretty quickly. XP is earned by how you fight. Use punches and kicks, then gain unarmed XP. Shoot a gun, get ranged XP. It's that simple. Acrobatic is the most annoying to get. As far as I'm aware, besides dodging, you get the XP by throwing weapons like boomerangs and hooks, or just simply throwing weapons in general, or using any weapon that's in your grenade slot. Luckily for you, arena mode starts you off with everything you need. For melee, a wooden plank, there's a little gun for ranged, and throwing rocks for acrobatic, which is actually a pretty good starting throwing weapon. As you earn XP, you get to buy many different skills to enhance yourself in the upcoming battles. Each skill has a different set of points you need to earn in order to buy it. Highly recommended skills have stars near them. Skills also give attribute bonuses. As mentioned earlier, your focus skill gives you 2 attribute points rather than 1, and your weak skill gives you 0. Each tree is more centered around specific attributes. Ranged being centered around dexterity and tactics, while unarmed is strength and endurance. It actually tells you exactly what attributes you will get out of the skill tree, so there's no need to do any outside research. Attribute points and the sub ones simply are stat boosts that increase things such as speed, damage, the size of your attack bar, how much armor you can carry, and a bunch of other things. What's great about all this is all you have to do is hover over these attributes and it tells you exactly what it upgrades. You can do this for literally anything on the menu, even your health and tack bar. The game explains everything for you rather than you either guessing what it does or having to do your own research out of the game. Enough about stats though, let's get into the game itself. Arena mode has 8 helipad missions, 4 contract bus missions, along with an extra optional mission. The heist, being the only optional mission as of now in all of arena mode. And of course, the Sleepwalker bed. The bus is the main story mission of arena mode, where it plays like a story mode level rather than a typical arena level. The helipad missions are the main meat and potato of arena mode, and where you'll spend the majority of your time. And well, the Sleepwalker bed is there. Fun fact though, you may not be able to earn dosh in the bed, however, even if you or your squad mates die, you'll be completely fine due to it being a simulation, so death has no penalties. This is a great place to test out your new skills or weapons, making it a safe enough place for practice. Arena mode is all about progressing through each stage, getting XP, leveling up your character with skills, armor, and weapons, all to progress to the next contract mission, to then unlock the next helipad stages until you beat all of them. Each arena mode stage, except the bus contract missions, come in 3 different types. They will be labeled at the top of the level so you know what type it is. There's your classic battle stage, that's just you in an arena fighting all the enemies until they all die. There's siege missions where you have to defend an objective, for example, defending the gas pumps for blowing up in pit stop, or the hardest siege mission by far being hard sell, where you need to defend an artifact stored in a crate from being opened and destroyed. Then there's infiltration, which as of now is only fast track and Nexus core facility. In these missions, after you kill a wave of enemies, you move on to another area of the level, rather than just standing in the same place like battle. Nexus Facility is the only level in all of Arena mode to have medkits, except for in contract missions. Waves are simple. There's a number in the top right of the screen telling you how many remaining enemies are left, along with how many waves there are in total. After you kill each wave's enemies, it gives you a break period for you to equip new weapons from your storage for you and your squad mates. Another thing to point out is 1, you can start the next wave at any time, and 2, you won't be penalized for leaving. However, you will have to restart all the way back if you die or abort during the middle of a battle. Your progression is marked through this yellow bar, where once you complete all the stages of that arena, you complete it, and you can move on to the next one. If you do die, the only way to go back to where you were is by spending money to skip a checkpoint. Another thing about arena levels is how much XP and money you get. Higher difficulties give you more XP and money, however, it's a fixed amount that will never go above what it tells you. XP of that level will be split evenly between your skill trees, depending on how much of them you used in combat. Higher waves, while being harder, also give you access to higher values of money and experience points as well. Your selected difficulty especially affects the heist, where the higher your difficulty is, the more access you have to the vault. Each stage is very unique, some offering stage traps such as the Foundry with its bursts of fire, and Murder Room with its falling pits of death. Each stage you fight a different faction, from the mercs you fought before, to new enemies such as the Ghosts in the Haunting of Nevada House, to the N51 in Hard Cell. Once you unlock the Quartermaster real early on, he's your primary shopkeeper for most of your weapons and armor. At first, you'll have very limited access to a supply, but as you beat more stages, you'll gain access to more weapons and armor. Speaking of shopkeepers, there's a few more I'd like to discuss that you'll get as you progress through the main contract missions. After beating Contract 2, the chef will join your team. You'll need to beat a mission for his new place to get set up, but after that, the chef is the only way you have access to more obscure weapons, such as dissonance guns, heavy weapons, laser weapons, and even the Endozer. He also sells normal guns that have mods attached to them. Then there's the Fence, unlocked after Contract 3, who only barters in a currency called boon tokens. What are boon tokens? How do I get them? Well, boon tokens are gained by beating stages for the first time, but the main way is through infinite waves. Infinite waves is pretty much playing after you beat the main stage progression. It's kind of the same thing for the most part, but the enemies do change in pit stop, and there normally is a mini-boss at the end of each stage's infinite waves, along with your enemy's attributes all going up by 1 at the end once it restarts. Now, back to boon tokens. Boon tokens can be found by weird little robot things that randomly pop up during infinite waves. They are harmless, and once destroyed, they drop 1 boon token. You can also acquire 3 boon tokens at the end vault in the heist. With these, you are able to buy many different things, so behold! Color swatches to colorize you and your squad's armor, along with the binary blade, which I think is one of the best melee weapons in the game. Nexus blade, ooh. And if you want to roleplay tricky, the stop sign is there too. You can also use boon tokens to customize yourself in the mirror. His most unique gear comes in the form of augments, a separate armor type that goes inside your body. There's quite a bit to choose from, however, most of them just give you a little upgrade to your sub or main stats. The 2 you'll actually want are either the nano respirators, which give you 200% extra health regen, or the chameleon veil, boosting your attack defense by 100%. These also give you 1 extra armor point with no encumbrance added on to boot. Don't forget Phobos' cape! Now, let's talk about your allies and base upgrades, because they go hand in hand. For allies, you have squad mates, of course. In the base, there's 2 main machines in the dormitory you can upgrade for them. The one on the left increases your squad mate's maximum level capacity. So until you upgrade this, they will eventually get locked behind a lower level, unable to increase it until the upgrade. You'll know how long it'll take to be fully upgraded, indicated by the glowing stars on the chef's shop. However, that's only for that one machine. This does not apply to any of the others. The machine on the right is how many squad mates you can have in your HQ at once. You can have a ton of squad mates in your place. However, you can only bring one with you on missions at first. As you progress through the game, Chopper Dave will upgrade his helicopter, allowing more squad mates to join you in missions, the maximum being 5 in total. The other option you have for allies is troopers, upgraded in the dormitory as well. Troopers act as extra soldiers you can call in a pinch once per wave. The more you upgrade the machine, the better the soldiers, but the higher the cost. However, the maximum level is only $800 per troop summoning, so it's really not that crazy. These troops can really help you during hard times, especially if all your squad mates are dead and you need a helping hand. Back to squad mates, however, while the AI is finicky and isn't the best, squad mates are still very helpful. For the most part, anyways. Squad mates are bought through the boss man. The boss man allows you to summon new candidates, fire existing allies, or hire the allies that are waiting to be selected. Each squad mate utilizes a specific skill tree as their main fighting style. Put it simply, if the squad mate says they're a bruiser, they prioritize hand-to-hand skills and utilize mainly the unarmed tree. Same goes for clubbers with melee, gymnasts for acrobatic, and so on. You can fully customize each squad mate with weapons, armor, swatches, and that mirror thingy in the loft. A good note is that acrobatic types and unarmed have a higher encumbrance level than the others, meaning they can wear more armor. Encumbrance, of course, means the amount of armor you can wear before you were slowed down and put at a disadvantage. The last upgrade system is located in the medical bay. Here, you can buy cloning vats. You see, every time a squad mate dies outside of the sleepwalker bed, they need to be brought back by Skinner, the golem doctor. In order to bring your squad mates back, this requires your hard-earned blood money. However, when you're brought back, it's free of charge. The cloning machines, while there's only up to 4 of them, drastically reduce the cost to bring back a hireling. If you either don't have the vats or more than 4 squad mates dead, then you either pay full price or wait for a discount. Now, let's talk about customization. In the game, there's a plethora of different armor for you to choose from to decorate your character as you see fit. Of course, the further on you go, the more stages you beat, the more customization options will open up to you. There's the color swatcher, which allows you to colorize a large amount of the armor in the game to your liking. More options, of course, being available once you unlock the fence after Contract 3. Each origin also gives you access to a unique tint for that specific origin as well. But even with all the armor and colors, customization doesn't end there. You can also get a slick do at Skinner's, which I've never done. To be honest, I don't like the hair options in this game. Whoopsie! Last but not least, when the loft is unlocked, you can gussy up in the mirror, allowing you to change your skin tone, your blood color, and even your form. You can look like Jeb, a zombie, or even a ghost. However, keep in mind, these require boon tokens, not money. The loft is a nice little home for yourself, with trophies for each level you beat, a stash of all your boon tokens and cash, your weapon bench, storage chest, and armor colorizer are all here too. You even get your own room. There isn't much to do here but sit around. However, try sitting in something. You may just earn an achievement, such as laying on the bed as the Massive, who gets a much bigger bed to fit his bulky size. Psst, this also gives you an achievement. Last big thing I gotta discuss, but only a bit, is gun modification. From bayonets to buttstocks, compensators, and my favorite, the different types of magazines with different ammo, such as the armor-piercing rounds or explosive rounds. Weapon modification can work with most guns, and only gets crazier with the Tinkerer, that can put nearly any modification on any weapon. That's right, that means dissuants and lasers. If you want to test out your new guns or modifications before a battle, feel free to use the shooting range. It gives you an infinite ammo refill, and the workbench is also right next to it in case you want to change something. Another quick tip is in the main station hub, if you're truly stuck, there's a little machine in the center that says help. Click on that and Doc will give you some tips on what to do next. That's the gist of arena mode, just getting better over time while progressing through levels and slaughtering enemies in blood-bashing goodness. Wow, that was long, huh? Anyways, I wanted to talk to you guys about the different weapons and armor in Manus Project Nexus. With over 200 weapons of devastation, you'll be blasting your way through Nevada with plenty of tools in your arsenal. With story mode, of course, you are limited to whatever loadout you start with and the weapons all around the stages. Quick tip, guns and lockers have extra magazines as long as you're not in Madness mode. However, Arena is where you'll truly shine with the weapons, since after a while, you'll have access to whatever you want, so long as you can afford it. Melee weapons ranging from simple hand axes and scrap swords to katanas and nexus blades, and guns ranging from dinky little pistols all the way to rifles, shotguns, an acid gun, lasers, electricity, flame, cold, and dissonance. There's even elemental-themed Slayer knives for you in the chef's store. Weapons, of course, have durability, breaking eventually after enough swings, leaving them open for a shard execution. And guns run out of ammo. But no fret. Just throw the gun into someone's skull. That's normal, right? Armor is mainly noticed in arena mode. Armor varies with how heavy it is and its armor value. However, some armor gives you benefits aside from protection. Some do simple things such as increasing or decreasing a substat, while some other armors may give you extra magazines, increase your hand-to-hand speed, or even ranged accuracy. So with a ton of armor choices in Arena and many weapons to help you in your journey of destruction, Manus Project Nexus features tons of ways to not only slay your enemies, but to also protect yourself with style. Manus Project Nexus is full of head-bopping, epic-tastical tracks that make the game even more fun to play. Cheshire and Lochner, I hope I said that right, really went ham on the music. And while of course some people may not like the music or specific songs, I'm sure overall the music will be a pleasant experience that'll make the game even more fun. Wanna play God, you say? Wanna have a Soldat fight Tricky? Or Hank fight the Sheriff? Well, the playground is your go-to in order to cause sandbox madness. Spawn almost any weapon, become almost any character, spawn almost any character, and listen to any track. Well, I will say this. I think I'm talking about, the UI here? I think that's the name. I'm not a big fan of how the menu system is set up. If it was more organized, such as maybe there's different sections for each faction, kind of like how there are little folders for the different gun types in the gun menu of Playground, or maybe there's different sections for each faction, and maybe being able to see the troop or character visually will go a long way. But hey, this simple mode is a fun addition. You can't spawn everything such as weird enemies like Ghoul or Hive, but you can spawn nearly everything and just have everyone fight and kill each other. Probably not the place you'll spend the majority of your time in, but it's a fun extra game mode that allows you to just screw around. Also, you can play modded stages here too. Oh yeah, speaking of mods, last but certainly not least is mods. Mod support is a long-term lifeline of a game, and Manus Project Nexus has some fun ones. From many different origin mods to custom weapon packs such as lightsabers or the guns from TF2 to totally changing the enemy types in arena mode, mods change the game in fun ways and add another layer of replayability. Now, there's the new addition of custom campaigns too. There's only one custom campaign, which is the Super Mod, a super hard mod that makes the N51 a wicked dangerous threat, and honestly I kind of wish they were like that in the main game, but difficulty is a hard thing to balance and I understand that. So go ahead and grab a TF2 Origin pack and start playing around with mods once you beat the main game. It is well worth it. As you all can probably tell, Manus Project Nexus is one of my favorite games ever made. It's fun, hack and slash, with awesome music, fun characters, creative combat, and locations. and plenty of weapons for slaughtering goodness. If you need relief from stress or just want to have some blood pumping fun, then hop right on in. Madness Project Nexus deserves more love, and I believe it didn't get the attention it deserves. And for such a cheap game with so much content, it is well worth the price. Sure, it has a respectable loyal fan base, but a game with this much passion that was mainly made by two guys, Crinkles and Swain, deserves more attention. I truly hope this convinces you all to give the game a try and litter the game with love and the praise it deserves. Of course it has its flaws. It's not perfect, nor is this game for everyone. But I'll be damned if I don't make a video showing how awesome this game is. That's that, my fellow agents. Remember to hug your friends, shower the developers with love and support, and to have an agent-tastic day. Agent Gabe, out!